on, get up. We keep it rolling. The next game is Who You Got. Big Week 3 AFC West matchup. Hawks, Broncos, Chargers. Who you got?
Give me the Chargers, man. I mean, what Harbaugh's doing with this team, you're seeing Justin Herbert play at a completely different level of someone who we know is incredibly talented. What he's done with Quentin Johnston, like the way that people are talking about him in the first 2 weeks of the season is incredible. They're on a tear. They keep it going.
Now, Herbert's in the MVP conversation. Orlovsky, Cardinals, Niners. Big matchup in the NFC West. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take the San Francisco 49ers. Mac Jones in his start last week was absolutely fantastic. I agree, Herbert in the MVP conversation. So should Christian McCaffrey. He's been absolutely everything to that football team, and that defense is flying around looking like that traditional 49ers defense. Solid. I'm going to take the 49ers.
And then, Hawk, we have a great one on Monday night. Lions and Ravens. Who do you like?
Yeah, this is going to sound crazy, Greeny. Give me Big Bipple Yip Snip on the hoo-ha higgler yip gip. That is Baltimore lingo, in case you were wondering, Greeny, and I know you are.
I am.
Give me LaMarvelous. Yeah, I'll explain it more in the break, but the Ravens are playing at a different level. Lamar Jackson continues to get better and better and better, which is crazy because that doesn't typically happen after you become the highest paid player.
I have my Google Translate open. Can you say that again?
Yeah, Big Bipple Yip Snip on the hoo-ha higgler yip gip.
Okay.
I can't even believe that you can repeat that exactly as is twice.
Two interesting takes on this game. Let's start with the Lions. That offense looked like you didn't even recognize them week 1, and then week 2 they were back and destroyed the Bears. Which is real? Are the Lions going to be this explosive, creative, dominant offense again without their former coordinator, Ben Johnson?
I think if Dan Campbell continues to have his fingerprints all over their offense, yes. That being said, you ain't playing the Bears defense this week, okay? The Bears defense was terrible in the middle of the field last week, and Jared Goff destroyed them. You saw it from the first snap of the game. Their play action on first down was absolutely sensational. The motion, the shifts, all of that, the stuff that we've loved about Detroit's offense last 3 years. The Bears,
in which Lamar Jackson has shined as much as any quarterback. If we go to B12 right now, so B12, and give us that board. Look at Lamar Jackson versus the NFC over the course of his career. 24-2. Look at his record on Monday night. 7-2. Look at the touchdown to interception ratio on Monday Night Football. 22 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and in a week in which they were coming off a game where they got a little bottled up against Cleveland. Cleveland was tough against the run. Lamar Jackson, you would think, is in line for a big game on Monday night.
And so this was a lot of people's preseason Super Bowl pick, right? It's the Lions against the Ravens, and it certainly could still go that way. But you know what is interesting, and maybe a conversation for later, we all talk about the AFC like that's where it's loaded. Suddenly the NFC looks like it might be a tougher road. So if I told you one of these teams is going to make that deep run this year, you like the Lions or the Ravens?
I'm going with the Ravens.
Still Baltimore.
Yeah, absolutely. Lamar Jackson's continuing to play at a level that we even didn't see the year before.
Okay, we've got that game and much more football coming up. But right now, it is time for a very special guest. Bring out the chip breaks. They're good for everyone who's not trying to host a show. Because I can't get anybody's attention if my life depends on it. Here we go, fellas. It's going to come as a surprise to you, but this is what we're starting the hour with. Week 3, a game called What If? Hey, Will, what if the Dolphins get blown out tonight in Buffalo?
I say an interim head coach gets ready for Monday Night Football the next week. If the Bills blow out, the Dolphins, this is just doing house chores throughout the week if you're the Buffalo Bills. It's like taking out the trash, just getting a cup of coffee. They are 12-2 over their last 14 against the Dolphins. It's scary hours in Miami.
Well, Shefty, I mean, that is what people will look at. I know it's very early in the season, but there's a lot of noise, and they play on a Thursday, and then they don't play till the following Monday. So outside of a bye, I mean, it's practically like having a bye week. Is there any real thought that this could be
The noise is not going to go away anytime soon in Miami. It's going to follow this team all season long because it seems like there are people that want this to happen. But the fact of the matter is, I think practically speaking, the team is not planning to do this, and they prefer not to do this. Now, what happens tonight if the Dolphins do get blown out? We saw what happened a couple of years back. Thursday night, divisional battle, the Raiders obliterate the Chargers, and the next day, the Chargers make a change. So it always seems like changes come after big, embarrassing losses on Thursday night games, in European games, when there's breaks for teams to make a move like this with the Dolphins next game after this being on a Monday night against the Jets. There is a window there, but this is not how the team is thinking. It's not how they're operating. Let's see how the game plays out.
You see, if the team doesn't prefer to do this and they don't want to do this, I'm sure they prefer not to be 0-2 and they don't want to have a really bad team. But it's like, if it's not working out, it's like, from an upper management standpoint, you got to look at it and be like, does this work, yes or no? If it's no, then let's move on.
There will certainly be a lot of eyes on it. Let's see, maybe they put on a better show tonight than we're expecting. Orlovsky, you have the next one. So Caleb Williams going up against the Cowboys defense that just got shredded by Russell Wilson and company. What if Caleb really struggles on Sunday?
Oh, the noise will get the weight of the world. The weight of the world. Hey, there is no player in the NFL this weekend under more pressure than Caleb Williams. Because of the expectations, because of the way the first 2 weeks have gone, because of, Greeny, to your point, the way that Russ lit this defense up. I agree that if he doesn't come out and play really well, there is going to be a lot of chatter, a lot of noise that is going to be very uncomfortable around him and the whole organization.
What do you guys think?
I agree. I personally like the Bears in this game because Dallas is poor on defense.
Yeah.
Caleb's going to see what they're lined up in pre-snap. There's static alignments on the defensive side. You know what you're getting. There's zero disguise. You're getting 96% zone calls across the board when you look at what Dallas calls on plays. And then when they are in zone, a lot of it is Tampa too. So he's going to know what they're in right before. He's going to know when they're blitzing. This could be a big game for Caleb Williams.
All right, we'll dive deeper into that game as we continue. Meanwhile, I got one more for him. Lawan, this one's for you.
Yes, sir.
What if the Kansas City Chiefs, unthinkably, unimaginably, fall to 0-3 by losing at the Giants Sunday night?
It breaks my heart to even say it. Will Compton mentioned about Rome falling. That is the case. The dynasty is over. Travis Kelce, friend of the show, love him to death.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. But if you go 0-3, I think the stat is like 2.8% chance of making the playoffs. The last thing to do was the Houston Texans in 2018. I don't see that happening. I don't think they have the horses in the perimeter to get it done if they go 0-3.
Well, here's the number that I referred to a little earlier. The Chiefs will have to do something they've never done before, and that is win a road game at the Giants. Now, before you yell at me, it's been a long time since they've played there. You're right. The last time the Chiefs played at the Giants was 2017. Patrick Mahomes was a rookie. He did not play. Kansas City actually lost that game despite being a 10-point favorite. So it's hard to say with a team this good that they can't come back from things, and we know they have pieces coming back. Maybe they get Xavier Worthy back this week. They will get Rashee Rice back. But 0-3 is a hole that is almost impossible to dig your way out of.
The conversation about playoffs just needs to take a break in Kansas City and Super Bowl. And I'm not saying that to be hyperbolic. That's the only thing that matters to them as an organization, and they've earned that right. They don't have an identity on offense. So we can talk about the Chiefs from the vantage point of the past, or we could talk about them where they are right now. To put it like into context so people can understand, Patrick against the Chargers accounted for 88% of their offense.
Right.
Against the Eagles was 81%. He's thrown the ball on average 2.4 seconds, getting it out of his hands. That would be by far the fastest of his career. They're stalwarts on their offensive line. Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith are not playing well. The young people aren't playing well. They don't have explosive plays. They can't. If you can't block people, you're not saving anything. Right now, they can't block people, whether it's pass protection or in their run game.
Can I ask a question? Taylor, this obviously is your area of expertise on the offensive line. They've played two really good defensive fronts, right? But by the time the season comes to an end, we might be saying the Chargers and the Eagles are about the two toughest defensive fronts, or right up there with any in the NFL. Is it possible? Because what Dan is saying is right. I can see how much trouble they're having opening up anything in the running game, and Patrick is under duress. Is it possible that they're not as bad as it looks, and they've just had two very tough matchups to start?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely possible. You mentioned the two guys in the middle that are extremely good players, and I believe they are still good players. The issue is this is why football is the greatest team sport ever created. If one area is failing, it doesn't mean it's the only reason why the offense is failing. The offensive line is not playing well, but there's no perimeter players to throw the ball. When Patrick Mahomes has to hold the ball, there's guys that are not getting open, and eventually that